joins me now, along with Congressman Chris Stewart of the House Intel Committee. He just viewed the actual whistleblower document. And Congressman, you have some breaking news for us tonight.
Well, we know that it's been declassified and has been released, so it should be available for everyone to look at. And I encourage everyone to go look at it. You know, Laura, before I went in this morning, I was a little bit anxious. Actually, I thought, am I going to be surprised? Is there going to be something in this that I go, oh no? And I can tell you that after reading it, I'm much more confident tonight than I was this morning that this is going to go nowhere.
Well, what does it say?
There are just no surprises there. The entirety of it is focused on this one thing, and that's a transcript of one phone call. The transcript that was released this morning. There are some reports from the Wall Street Journal and from Political and a couple other things, but they're all ancillary. They have nothing to do with it. It is all just this one thing, this one phone call that we've been talking about all day.
Over at CNN, one of the other congressmen ran out to the cameras after seeing it from your committee, had a different take, surprisingly, right? Let's watch.
Deeply disturbing. It reinforces the concerns. The White House can selectively try to control the spin on stuff, as they did with the special counsel's report, when, as you recall, Mr. Barr lied about what was in that report. All I can tell you is they're doing the very same thing here.
Okay, Congressman, what I'm confused about, and I think a lot of people are, did this whistleblower see the transcript somehow, or was told by a friend? How did this whistleblower? I'm just curious about this.
Well, that's an important question, isn't it? Because you would think first-hand knowledge would be important. He did not see it.
We have wagers about whether it's a woman or a man.
I want to get in on that. He or she did not see it, did not read it, did not hear it. This was all second-hand knowledge. And that's just one thing. So look, Mr. Quigley, who just came on and claimed how dramatic this is, it's just nonsense. If you think this is dramatic, go read the transcript from this phone call, and you tell me if you think that's dramatic. Because I think most American people go, what is this about? And Laura, if I could make this point quickly. I don't care if there's 217 Democrats who are voting for impeachment. That does not matter. It's the American people that matter in this thing. And they look at what Richard Nixon did and they go, that was wrong. They look at what Bill Clinton did and they just intuitively know this was wrong. But you have to explain to them, well, for him to go talk to a foreign leader and to ask him to investigate corruption, and most Americans go, I don't get it. Where's the crime?
I thought the Democrats cared about corruption, Congressman Jordan. For 3 years almost, you and I have been talking. They care about corruption. In the angle tonight, I said they don't care about it at all. They care about power. They want power back.
And getting the president. And what Chris just said is the central focus of the claim is the transcript we all read today. That's it. And Nancy Pelosi is going to base an impeachment on that document. Everyone should read this document. I hope all your viewers do, because when you read it, there was no quid pro quo. There was no talk about aid for any type of favor. There was the whistleblower. The whistleblower himself was not, as Chris just said, had no firsthand knowledge, wasn't part of the call, and I bet he hasn't even seen the transcript until today.
And I want to.
But he did have a political bias against the president. That was clear. He told the inspector general he was out to get the president. So that's what they're basing it on.
Is there any of that in this complaint? Do you have any understanding about the political bias
and
aspect?
Once again, people are going to be able to read this. If you read this, it's snarky. It is. It claims something expansive that at the end of the day just.
It's kind of doing. It sounds like the whistleblower is doing what some of the Democrats are doing in discussing what this is all about. I mean, it's a spin, always the worst possible light for the president.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you can read this, and it's pretty clear.
How long is it?
6 or 7 pages.
And is it like handwritten notes from the whistleblower?
No,
is it interview notes typed up? What is it?
It's funny. We were kind of laughing because it looks like a Fusion GPS product, actually.
Laura, here's what.
It's a very well organized, well written document that makes one supposition, but it's all based on this one thing.
So it is the phone call. It's not multiple other events, because we read earlier this week there were multiple events involving this. Go ahead.
This so-called whistleblower tells the inspector general some indicia of an arguable political bias. Now, who the heck talks like that? You know what that sounds like? Yeah. Remember when they went to the FISA court and talked about the dossier, candidate A, candidate B? That's exactly what this sounds like. So this is what Nancy Pelosi wants to base an impeachment inquiry on. And what did Mr. Zelensky, President Zelensky of Ukraine, tell us today? He said he wasn't pushed. In fact, he also said in that conversation, I want to drain the swamp in Ukraine just like you're draining it here, Mr.
In Russian,
President.
you say "Всё нормально," "Всё нормально." It was like normal. Like, this is what. Like, do me a favor. You're looking at this corruption thing. You got to clean up this corruption. It was kind of like that in Trump speak. That's what it was kind of like.
Yep.
All right, Ed. So you just heard from Congressman Stewart about this. Now we have this complaint is all released. It's unredacted. It's declassified. Released. You got the transcript, which now they're complaining about, saying it's not really a transcript. Okay, it's a conspiracy of the transcribers now. So what are you hearing tonight?
Yeah.
Are they worried they might have been over their skis a little bit, the Democrats?
Some Democrats might be, because of something important that Congressman Stewart just said when he said that the whistleblower complaint was largely about the phone call that we've now seen this transcript on. Because you're right, Laura, a moment ago you said that a couple days ago there were news reports claiming that the whistleblower complaint was a whole lot more than the phone call, a series of incidents that maybe led this whistleblower to complain, to speak out, to say that there were a whole series of problems with the president. Congressman Stewart now saying that is largely about the call. I spoke to a senior administration official tonight who told me that the other stuff the whistleblower talks about in the complaint is largely stuff you could have gotten from news clippings, stuff that's been in the public domain. Yeah. So remember, and if the congressman can confirm that for us, originally a lot of people in the media presented this a couple days ago as this whistleblower's inside the government saw things, sort of up close that really alarmed him or her. But instead, I'm hearing from a senior administration official, this quote-unquote whistleblower, heard about the call secondhand, as you noted, but also heard about these other things that were already in the public domain, not stuff that the whistleblower has firsthand knowledge of.
Isn't a lawyer for the whistleblower? I mean, you can get lots of lawyers in Washington. They're a dime a dozen, but isn't it like a Democrat, activist kind of lawyer deal too?
And I want to just be clear on one thing. This isn't largely based on the transcript.
Entirely.
It's entirely based. And there are reports. I mean, like I said, there's some things from Politico, from the New York Times.
These are legitimate, supposedly media organizations who ran with this narrative.
But once again, nothing on this thing was his firsthand knowledge of any of these things.
But none of this is an impeachable offense. It is ludicrous. It's Looney Tunes Central. Yep. I'm telling you, this is like, I'm thinking of the Looney Tunes cartoons, remember? The little circle thing. All right, panel, fantastic conversation as always. Thank you for the break.